I discovered my fiancé and her closest confidant were involved in a secret romantic homo relationship, viewing me merely as a source of financial support. In response, I revealed their deception to her family and called off our wedding just weeks before the ceremony. I met Rebecca 3 years ago at a coffee shop in Portland. We connected immediately, and I found myself captivated by her enthusiasm for life. She seemed genuinely excited whenever we planned weekend getaways to the coast or dined at trendy restaurants in the Pearl District. Looking back, I was perhaps too eager to please her, always picking up the tab and surprising her with thoughtful gifts. After 15 months together, I proposed during a sunset hike at Mount Hood. She accepted with joyful tears, immediately photographing the ring for her Instagram followers. For a while, everything seemed perfect. I continued my work as a software engineer, while Rebecca pursued her passion for graphic design at a local arts college. We shared a comfortable townhouse I'd purchased before meeting her, and our life together felt stable and promising. Rebecca frequently invited her childhood friend Olivia to our home. They'd spend hours together watching documentaries, trying new recipes, or discussing art projects. Occasionally, I noticed their hushed conversations would stop abruptly when I entered a room, but I dismissed these moments as harmless friendship dynamics. Everything changed on a rainy Tuesday in October. I was scheduled for a 4-day conference in Seattle, leaving Monday morning with plans to return Friday evening. Rebecca had seemed particularly eager for me to leave, mentioning something about planning a surprise for when I returned. I felt touched by her thoughtfulness, completely unaware of what was really happening. As fate would have it, the conference organizers condensed the schedule, allowing attendees to leave Thursday afternoon instead. I decided to drive back early, imagining Rebecca's delighted expression when I surprised her. The 3-hour drive gave me plenty of time to anticipate our reunion. When I quietly entered our home around 8 p.m., I heard sounds from upstairs that immediately set off alarm bells. Moving silently up the staircase, I pushed open our bedroom door to find Rebecca and Olivia in an intimate embrace, clearly engaged in a passionate moment. The betrayal hit me like a physical blow. "What the hell?" I managed to gasp. Rebecca's head snapped toward me, her initial shock quickly replaced by something closer to annoyance than guilt. "You're back early," she stated flatly, as if I were the one who had done something wrong. In that moment, everything shifted. I demanded they get dressed and meet me downstairs for a conversation. While Olivia hurried to compose herself, Rebecca's demeanor remained disturbingly casual. When they finally joined me in the living room, Rebecca's explanation left me reeling. "Look, Jason," she said with a dismissive wave, "you've been convenient. You have a nice place, a good job, and you're easy to manipulate. Olivia and I have been together for years, but we needed someone to help us financially until we could figure things out." I felt the blood drain from my face as I processed her words. All those months of generosity, all the plans we'd made together, they had been calculated moves in a long con. The realization brought a strange clarity through my shock. "I want both of you out of my house," I said quietly, my voice steadier than I expected. Rebecca's eyes narrowed. "You can't just throw us out. And don't think about telling anyone. No one will believe you anyway." What she didn't know was that I had installed a security camera in our main living area after a break-in at a neighbor's house months earlier. The system had captured everything, including her callous admission. Once they left, I sat alone, trying to process what had happened. Eventually, I called my brother, giving him just enough details to explain my state of mind. His outrage reminded me that I wasn't alone and helped me formulate a plan to protect myself. Our wedding was scheduled for just 6 weeks away. Deposits had been paid, invitations sent, and arrangements finalized. I couldn't bear the thought of Rebecca spinning this situation to her advantage, portraying me as the villain. With that in mind, I contacted her parents, asking them to come to my home the following morning. Rebecca's parents, Martin and Elaine, had always treated me with warmth and respect. They arrived looking concerned but completely unprepared for what I was about to share. I explained the situation as calmly as possible, watching their expressions shift from confusion to disbelief. "There must be some misunderstanding," Elaine suggested softly. "Rebecca wouldn't do something like this." That's when I reluctantly showed them a brief clip from the security footage, just enough to confirm my account. Martin's face hardened as he watched, while Elaine pressed her hand to her mouth in shock. "Where is she now?" Martin asked, his voice strained. I sent Rebecca a message, saying only that her parents were at our home and needed to speak with her. She arrived 45 minutes later, her confident stride faltering when she saw her parents' grave expressions. Her attempts to deny everything crumbled when I mentioned the footage. She tried to minimize what had happened, claiming it was just experimentation, not a real relationship. When that failed, she became defensive, accusing me of manipulation and control. "You're making this into something it's not," she insisted desperately. "It was just a one-time thing. We were just messing around." Martin had heard enough. "Rebecca, stop lying. We saw the video. We heard what you said about using him." The confrontation continued for another painful hour. Rebecca's parents insisted she gather her belongings immediately. They wouldn't allow her to stay with me another night. As she packed, I formally stated that our engagement was over and the wedding canceled. Rebecca's final words to me were bitter and threatening. "You'll regret this. I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of person you really are." I simply responded, "The truth speaks for itself." The days that followed were a blur of cancellations and awkward explanations. I provided vague answers about irreconcilable differences when asked why the wedding was off, though Rebecca had no such restraint. She posted multiple accusations on social media, claiming I was intolerant and controlling. Fortunately, mutual friends who knew parts of the story helped counter her narrative. My brother and closest friends rallied around me, providing support when I needed it most. Rebecca's parents contacted me once more, insisting on reimbursing me for wedding expenses. I appreciated their gesture, but assured them it wasn't necessary. They seemed genuinely devastated by their daughter's behavior, repeatedly apologizing for what had happened. I later learned that Rebecca and Olivia had moved to Seattle together, but their relationship was already showing signs of strain. Without my financial support, they struggled to maintain the lifestyle they wanted. Rebecca's parents had also reduced their financial assistance, disappointed by her deceit. One evening, about 2 months after everything fell apart, I received a text from Rebecca. "I hope you're satisfied with destroying my life." After careful consideration, I replied, "I didn't destroy anything. You made your choices, and now you're living with them. I just refused to be used anymore." She never responded. The healing process was gradual but steady. The engagement ring remained in my desk drawer for months before I finally sold it, using the money to fund a solo trip to Alaska I'd always wanted to take. Sometimes I still catch myself wondering if I missed obvious warning signs. Could I have recognized the manipulation sooner? Perhaps, but I've learned that self-recrimination serves no purpose. Instead, I focus on the strength I found in standing up for myself when the truth came to light. Dating again has been challenging, but I've approached new relationships with honesty and clearer boundaries. The experience taught me to value authenticity above all else, both in others and in myself. I no longer view what happened as just a betrayal, but as a painful lesson that ultimately freed me from a life built on deception. Rebecca's actions revealed her true character, and while the discovery was devastating, it came before we legally bound our lives together. As I close this chapter of my life, I can say with certainty that I'm better for having faced this crisis with dignity and self-respect. The betrayal that once seemed unbearable has become a cornerstone of personal growth and renewed authenticity. If you've enjoyed this story and want to read more personal accounts of overcoming life's challenges, please subscribe to the channel for weekly updates and new content.